I am but a shackled puppet, clicking and clacking along in the control of cosmic entities far beyond yours or my own mortal comprehension. Also, we're playing Call of Cthulhu.
I hate everything.
Hi.
Okay, gang, welcome into our prequel one-shot, I guess we'll call it, for Call of Cthulhu, leading into our main campaign. I already forgot the name. It's going to come back to me in 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's like
Deep Waters, Dark Secrets, that's what it was. I swore I wrote that down on the document that's on my USB. For the one-shot? No. This is just pretty much just going to be just a one-shot that's going to directly tie into the main story.
The pilot episode.
okay.
Yeah, pretty much the pilot episode. We may never hit the real air. Dog, are you good?
He's not.
I hate everything.
Seriously not.
Seriously not okay.
I hate
Anyway.
everything.
Okay. So, let us begin the story then. It is March 18th, 1922. It is a cold, cool spring night in the city of Port Rouge, nestled on the western coast of the Chesapeake Bay, situated in this sliver of the Atlantic Ocean that carves into the heart of Maryland itself. Here, a quaint town, a population of less than 1,500 for the era, somewhat small by standards of other cities that populate up and down the East Coast, but the tone for the night is a bit different. For the past couple months now, ever since the January snowstorm that blew through up on the East Coast just south of New York, the Knickerbocker snowstorm, there have been a string of disappearances that have been going on in Port Rouge. This man is a child, I want to remind you.
We were joking about it earlier, and I just can't
I cannot
stop
say
thinking about
I cannot
He's cracking.
I cannot say the word Knickerbocker to this man because he will start laughing.
It's such a funny word.
It is
It's
a
not
funny
real.
word. So the Knickerbocker snowstorm actually was. That was an actual event that
I
happened.
know it is.
So, nonetheless, cutting back
Right.
into our story. For the last several months, from January spanning up until now, there have been a string of disappearances that have been occurring in Port Rouge. While locals have gone to local law enforcement with their own regards and concerns pertaining to the missing people that have popped up as flyers attached to phone poles and on the sides of buildings throughout Port Rouge, there has been an unrest that has begun to build in the general populace. The people want answers, and unfortunately for the people, law enforcement are not delivering. Now, whether that is to be because of law enforcement's own laziness or because of some other ulterior motive that the general population is not aware of, the investigation has grown cold. The missing persons count now numbers at just below a dozen individuals. For a small, somewhat closely snug town like this, with a very much a mom and pop mentality, everyone knows their neighbors sort of mindset that exists here for the people of Port Rouge, this is a concerning factor. The police aren't doing anything about these people. There have been search party efforts, there have been searches up and down the coast, up and down the Chesapeake Bay proper, but nothing has turned up. No new evidence, nothing pointing in any sort of direction. Even last known whereabouts are being forgotten by law enforcement. The people have had enough. They have decided to take it upon themselves to conduct their own matter of search, given a last known location for one of the more recent disappearances, a younger woman in her early 20s by the name of Anna B. Mays. That is where our 3 investigators for the
Said
one
Anna
shot.
B. Mays?
Anna B. Mays.
I hate her.
No E in Mays. I know you do. I'm well aware. So,
We'll get to that.
that is where our 3 investigators come in for this sort of ragtag group of search party members here who are taking the matters of justice and revelation of answers into their own hands. So, starting with Austin, if you want to give us a brief introduction to Seth Holstad.
My name is Seth Holstad. I'm a cop or a police officer at the PRPD. I'm actually a detective, and I've been in World War I, and I was one of the best marksmen in my group, and I was able to take out 12 guys with my rifle, and I'm really bad at this accent. I'm trying to keep it, but I can feel myself like going down. I killed 2 more with a rifle, and now I moved here from. I was born in Atlanta, and I'm here to try to start my own life, and from there I started at the PRPD, and I don't like the other officers because they don't really do their job. So I try to do it for them, and it is a lot on me. So
yeah, it's very taxing on you being what it feels like to be the lone officer undertaking and kind of having to take matters into your own hands where your own fellow officers are slacking.
Yes.
Jason, why don't you give us a brief introduction to your character, Jebediah Rutherford?
He's kept that up a lot longer than I thought he would.
He's doing a very good job.
My name is Jebediah. I'm from Amish country. I ain't Amish no more.
He got his Amish card revoked.
He got his Amish card revoked.
I don't lack nothing. I just want to live. People that took me in, they gone. I'ma find them.
And that Jebediah is going to do.
Yep.
The people who have so graciously allowed him to live on their couch for the time being until Mr. Rutherford hits the road again, as he has all the way down the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get down to the bottom of these missing peoples. And then, Zach, you are the last of our investigators for this search party. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Roy Hampton?
Well, my name is Roy Hampton, and I was a coal miner born in Mattawan, West Virginia. And then I served on the front line in World War I, came back, was a coal miner again, just like my father used to be. But then something happened at Blair Mountain, a little fight between the National Guard. I was acquitted, but couldn't coal mine no more. They didn't launch like Union folks there. So I went and became a fisherman out in Port Rouge.
And that is where Mr. Hampton here is situated. And I believe it was your companion who goes fishing with you who has gone missing.
Yeah, Billy O'Keefe. He was an Irishman.
Billy O'Keefe.
I didn't mind that, though.
That's good. I'm glad you have a bit of a heart to you, Mr. Hampton.
That's good to know, man. That's good to know.
So, our 3 investigators have gathered and taken matters into their own hands in regards to a search party to locate these missing peoples. The last known location, a point of interest from where some of the initial investigations have begun, is a small sort of alcove down on the rocky shoreline of the Chesapeake Bay, just a couple miles north of Port Rouge. It is there that you 3 have decided to take the long walk, or if one of you has a car, you can ride out on some of the I believe there's a state road that runs north of Port Rouge. It won't take you directly to the coastline. You will still have to walk there, but you'll save a bit of time and travel at the very least. That is,
I got a patrol vehicle. We'll take that.
yeah, so we'll load the 3 of you up into Mr. Holstad's cruiser car, and from there travel north. I believe it's the I-65, I think is the state road that runs through Maryland at the time. But Mr. Holstad, you're a local.
Man, I got 5 in law, man.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That's fair. That's fair.
I can't read.
I can't read.
Life is a highway.
In any case,
Life is a highway.
life is indeed a highway.
I'm gonna
And the
ride
highway it is you guys take the I-65 north, leaving Port Rouge.
all night long.
It will be about, we'll say about short of a 10-minute drive north before the interstate kind of stops. There is a section of shoulder you will be able to pull out onto, but you will have to walk the rest of the way to the coastline. As you guys get there, you guys are greeted. Keep in mind, it is long due into the night. Evening is long behind you in terms of how the hours have passed. It's about roughly 9:30, probably almost pushing 10 o'clock at night.
Good.
So as you guys get down to the shoreline, you guys are met with the craggy, somewhat rocky coast. The dark rolling waves of the Atlantic lick upon the shore, giving you really the only ambiance here aside from the nighttime endemic life, whatever sort of crickets or other small creatures that may inhabit the grasses of this area. Up ahead of you, you do see, spotting just over the crest of a hillside, sort of cliff, something very, very small, not too much of a not too much of an ordeal to sort of mantle down to the alcove down below. You do happen to see the top of the rocky outcropping that does make up this alcove, which was a last known whereabouts for Anna B. Mays before she disappeared.
Now, did any of us know Anna B. Mays?
Probably not personally. Again, while the town is very cozy and it's a very much a everyone knows their neighbors kind of deal, in terms of relations with one another, there are a sort of checklist of friends and acquaintances. Now, that is entirely up to you three if you had any sort of close relation to the Mays family. They don't own anything of astounding repute here in the city. One of the general stores, not quite the more, popular gathering spot for a lot of the locals here. It would kind of be the second most popular, is a general store that the Mays family owns here in Port Rouge.
I knew her. Seen her.
I've been in your parents' shop before.
Jebediah knows her, has seen her, probably hates her.
Through the window.
To the wall. To the wall.
I hate it here.
Till the hate slipped down my butt.
I hate it. Whoa.
Wait, chill.
Whoa,
Chill.
I hate it here.
Relax.
I hate it here.
Oh my god. Okay. So, as you guys make your way down to the craggy coast, it is going to be a bit of what would be considered difficult terrain for the trek down. It's not quite like a beach, kind of more so over. There is a sort of almost a balancing act, to be a finer way to describe it. There are a collection of larger sea rocks that have obviously been exposed due to low tide at this time of night. You can use those to traverse across. It would be ideal to take your own time going across said rocks, as they are still slick from the waters that have been washing over them for most of the day. But as long as you take your time going across them, it shouldn't prove any sort of difficulty to get to the alcove. The alcove itself would be probably the closest representation to a small secluded beach. There is a bit of a sandy shore / sandbar situation going on beneath the alcove. As you get there, obviously the low tide kind of rolls in, not quite enough to threaten wetting your shoes or having to have the worry of wet socks on your mind, but as you three of you get into said alcove and you take a look around, why don't the three of you give me our first spot hidden roll for the session?
Yeah.
77.
77, and what is your spot hidden?
65.
Okay, so that's a fail.
I got a 29, and my spot's hidden is 65.
Okay, so you got a hard success. Nice.
I got an 8.
You got an 8. So what is your spot hidden?
It's a 15 as an extreme success.
Okay, so you got an extreme success. Yeah. Okay, so Jebediah, you...
This man ain't seeing nothing.
Yeah, so Jebediah, maybe it has to deal with the fact that you are kind of trying to fight back the thought that you are in an open space right now. It's not crowded, so it's not directly playing into your phobia, but it's kind of frazzling the mind a little bit. You're not quite able to focus too clearly on the finer details of what may be hidden here in this alcove, if there's even anything hidden here at all.
It dark.
It dark, yes indeed. It do indeed be dark. Seth, as you are looking about, there's something odd about this alcove that stands out to you. For one, alcoves like these would be situated somewhere kind of more strongly connected to a bigger land formation. A lot of the land formations that are here down by the coastline, this sliver of the Atlantic Ocean that carves into Maryland, wouldn't warrant at all a large enough of a land formation to have been eroded over time by the rolling waves. If anything, as you're kind of looking, you're getting a good look at the rock that is here, this ocean rock that over probably the hundreds and hundreds of years that this continent has been here, has been eroded away by the rolling waves. You're getting a closer look at the rock, and you're starting to realize that parts of this alcove look as if they were excavated by hand. As in, somebody probably dug this out, maybe as a hideout spot, maybe as a cool hangout spot.
Okay.
You're not really quite sure, but there definitely was finer tools here. Think like hammer and chisel or even pickaxes.
It dark.
So, it is indeed dark.
This would mean my
Roy,
man.
with your extreme success, you're getting everything I just told Seth, but there is something else you are noticing. So along the back wall, this section of rock wall that would hug, if not be directly adjacent to the actual cliff coastline of what you guys just scaled down to get onto the rocks to walk across to this spot, there is something odd about the wall. As you're kind of getting a closer look at it, you're staring it up and down. It being the nighttime, it is obviously a little harder to make out the finer details, so you're using your hands. Your hands are what you're best at using to find finer details. It's almost reminiscent to when you were down in the mine, finding the coal deposits. You had to feel around until you felt that rough, kind of flaky bit of coal that you would find. As you're kind of feeling around, there's two things you notice. One, there are sections of this wall that are slick with water. But judging by how the waves roll in, and judging by the darker coloration of wet rock in comparison to rock has dried, where this slick section of wall is, the sea line, the water line for elevation of high tide and low tide, it's way too high to reach this specific section of rock to make it slick with water. The other thing you notice as you are kind of running your hands, it's solid, solid, solid. There's an echo, almost like a reverb, like it's hollow. And that's what you find on your extreme success. You do feel what feels, at least at first grasp, at first kind of slight knocking, a hollow section of this wall. It's very well masked. You would think that most people would probably miss this at first, secondary, even tertiary glance at this wall. Exactly. It dark.
Roy.
So,
Now,
what
do I see him looking over there?
He is kind of feeling up the wall. Something has caught his attention.
Okay.
Hey, Seth, Jeb. Why don't you come on over here?
You find something?
It dark.
Yes, Jeb.
Well,
it
he
is
didn't find
indeed
nothing,
dark.
but come over here. Check this out. You see this part of the wall here?
Yeah.
You hear this? I just thump against the
Yes.
hard, right? And it's just like, you hear this?
Yeah, and as Roy thumps his hand on that section of wall, it sounds hollow.
Now, you don't need to be a mine expert to know that that ain't right.
What do you have
Wood
to
or
be?
something?
Wouldn't be wood, would it?
No, it's definitely rock.
It wasn't wood, would it be? Would it be wood?
Would it be wood? Would it indeed be wood?
Woodchuck.
I'm gonna throw you out of this room.
It dark.
It dark.
It dark.
It is dark.
Especially the woodchuck.
So, can we tell what it is?
It dark.
It definitely is some kind of. I'm gonna throw this man out of the room. It definitely is made to look like stone. It kind of feels almost like a thinner concrete of some kind. Probably something man-made. You reckon if you gave it maybe a push, or kind of maybe like a slide, like if you were moving a plank of wood, you probably could move it aside.
Hey, let's take a look at this. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna push it.
Okay, so make me a strength
Do you
check.
want me to help you, or
Yeah, make me a strength check. If he's helping you, you
Yeah.
have a bonus die for doing
Go
it.
ahead.
I help.
do I roll or not?
No. So he's gonna essentially take another percentile D10 and roll it, and if it's a lower result than his roll, he can use that
Percentile
instead.
is
The double number.
double. I got it. That works. Yeah, so the lowest one's 45.
45, and what is your strength?
85.
85? That's almost a hard success.
Almost.
Okay. So yeah, you didn't need a hard though to do it. So yeah, as you kind of fidget with this hollow section of rock wall, after a little bit of kind of messing around with it, seeing which way it might sort of slide, there is a bit of movement, and then there is the, if your character finds it that way, almost the uncomfortable sound of rock sliding against rock. Kind of that sharp, kind of gritty, grinding sound.
That was a Tuesday for me.
That was a Tuesday for you in the mines. So this section of rock wall slides away, and it's very strange to watch, right? Because it's not like a sliding door; it is a rotational slide. Like there is
There's
a
like a hinge.
hole situated. Yeah, almost kind of like there's like a rotator hinge in place to open up this what looks clearly to be an excavated section of wall.
Well, detective, what do you make of that?
I can tell you, I've never seen something like that before. So that's weird.
Jeb?
Door.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought too, but thank you for putting in such kind words.
This is a man of few words.
Got away with words, don't he?
It's a door.
Go.
I guess I'll just go look at you guys and just going in.
Flashlight.
I'll have a flashlight.
Okay. You have an electric torch on you. You light it up.
I have that and the revolver.
Okay, you got your revolver at the ready then. Okay, so Seth is ready for literally whatever may happen in this sea tunnel. Yeah, and as you...
There's people going missing daily in this town. I'm not taking any chances.
I hate it here.
It does almost feel daily.
Pull out the 45.
Okay, so Roy, following your example, Seth, he also produces his revolver, which you can clearly tell at glancing at it. It is a 45 caliber revolver. And the three of you make your way into this now opened doorway in this alcove.
Is Jebediah taking out anything?
No.
Nope. It dark.
It's dark.
So, as the three of you make your way inside, the sound of the lightly rolling waves from outside soon disappears behind you as you guys enter the darkness of this, what at now is very clearly to you three, this sort of like sea cave tunnel that someone has excavated out. Judging by the parameters and the width of this tunnel itself, this was probably an effort done over like several months, probably close to a year or two's effort. Or if they had a bunch of people doing it, you imagine, probably a shorter time. Nonetheless, this has taken some considerable effort to excavate out. And the other thing about it that may be surprising to the three of you is that this tunnelway doesn't just go flat straight. It flattens out in a straight direction and then descends.
Now, is this tunnel the size of it? Is it like, are we pretty claustrophobic, like having to go single file, or is it?
No, the three
bigger?
of you could walk shoulder to shoulder and still have room to move around.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
That is what is surprising about this tunnel.
Illuminate me if you would. This seems a bit,
Shine its flashlight on you. Yeah, what you need, partner?
This seems a bit peculiar. This wouldn't be like a smuggler's den, would it?
I don't have any recollection of anything like this happening before. So this is...
Hey, Seth,
Yeah.
Get dark.
can you give me a law roll to see
Sure.
to see if he would recognize
Yeah,
that this
I
is
failed.
a smuggler's den? Which you can't.
25.
45 over what? 5? Oh yeah, no, you cannot make heads or tails of whether this is a smuggler's den, a pirate's cove, maybe some kind of pirate exhibit from years ago. You're not sure. It's definitely odd though.
I don't know, man. I don't know. This one, get dark though.
Is there anywhere that I can like stay in the shadow and use stealth as we walk?
Oh, absolutely. If you want to hang back a bit from the group, you can use the shadows to your own advantage.
So do I roll stealth for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll me a stealth check.
Shine his light on him.
Jeb, what are you doing?
That's a 53. My stealth is a 56.
So this is a success.
So I'm gonna shine it on him really quick and just... Jeb, what are you doing?
He's hidden. Probably not from you two,
Alright.
but he is hidden. For the most part, he is hidden from anything else.
You just see him slowly take the knife out, and as soon as you put the light on, you just see him slowly put the knife back.
He does the Homer Simpson disappearing into the bush, but he's just disappearing into the darkness.
Nah, why we bring him?
He's looking for someone. It's fine.
You didn't bring me. I brought me.
He says from the
Yeah,
darkness
let's,
behind you
Let's
two.
go ahead.
Shall we descend?
Yeah. Now, is this like a straight down?
No,
or
it's
more
not
of
a sharp decline. It is quite literally like a...
I just kicked one of you guys in.
Yeah, it is quite literally like... So it will take just a little bit of effort to keep you guys from kind of sliding down. Like, it's not a sharp decline, but it is like a steady decline.
Just hit him with the Yoda.
Oh, God, no.
Go on.
So... You three continue on down the cavern as it slowly descends into what feels as if the three of you are descending into the earth itself.
Deep.
After a short bit, the ambient sounds from outside of the alcove are completely gone at this point. All that is left is the occasional dripping of water off the cavern walls and your guys' own semi-slick footfalls on the sea stone beneath your feet. Yeah, kind of like when you're walking on like a wet street, that kind of like sound as you guys are walking along. So the three of you continue your descent in the sea cavern here. As you guys are making your way down, the darkness around you is eerie for the most part. Silent, save for the dripping sound of water off of the ceiling and walls around you. The soft, slick footfalls of you all against the sea stone beneath your feet. The interior of this sea cavern is dank, but cool, almost calming.
It dank.
Yeah, it do be a bit dank. It's a little comforting, though. It's not anything that would be uncomfortable in temperature.
All right.
It's cool on the skin, and every so often you can kind of feel, not quite the humidity, but the amount of probably water vapor that hangs in the air every so often, kind of lightly slicking your forearms. As you guys continue downwards, the tone of this cavern shifts some. You're not quite sure what it is, if it's something ambient or something that's being produced from somewhere further in. But after a bit of a descent, there is kind of almost what feels like an atmospheric change. The air itself gets a bit heavier, the oxygen more rich down here, which you're not quite sure how that should be, considering you guys are descending far beneath the earth. If anything, you feel it would probably get a bit harder to breathe. Roy, you obviously would know that from being so deep in the mines. After a while, you do need some manner of breathing equipment, as the oxygen not quite so much thins out, but more pollutants begin to get in the air from deep excavations like this. But it doesn't get much harder to breathe down here. If anything, it doesn't really get easier to breathe. Nothing really changes as you take a breath in, save for the wetness in the air.
So it's humid.
Yeah, it starts to get a bit more humid.
My breath's a little moist.
My breath's a little moist. But another thing to know as you guys continue to descend, you start to see light sources up ahead of you. What probably look to be torches hung up on the sides of the walls in a 1-by-1 formation going left and right further down in the cavern ahead of you.
Hey, Roy, I'm not liking this.
Yeah. Somebody might be here.
What do you think, Jeb?
Dark.
No, it ain't dark anymore. There's torches up there.
It should be dark.
Okay.
Okay. So, as you guys continue on, eventually you reach the first...
As we go by, are we passing the torches yet? Or
Yes. You are coming up on the first sets of them.
As we pass each torch, I'm going to put each torch out.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a mental break. Oh.
Explain to me how you are doing that.
I'm just going to take the torch off the thing and rub it against the wall.
You're going to take the torch and rub it against the wall. So, the wall is not quite... So the wall is wet, right? But there's no running water going down the wall.
Right, but like a cigarette. Like, just like...
Okay. Let me see if there's even a roll to that, because you would be doing that for a little bit per torch.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take the time to do that then? Okay. So...
It dark.
Okay.
It stay dark.
It stay dark. Roy, Seth, do either of you wait up for Jebediah as he's doing this? He is taking a torch off the wall and rubbing the flame of it against the wall until it goes out.
No, in fact, I think because of my character, it actually kind of pisses me off that he's doing this.
It just confuses me, honestly. I'm just like...
So I just in a huff, just leave him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the two of you continue on as Jebediah stays behind to snuff out each of these torches. You are going to be here for a little bit doing
I
this.
can't believe you brought the loony with us.
He wanted to come. I couldn't say no.
Oh, sure you could have. It's a simple.
Well,
What does that mean?
oh.
What does that have to do with anything?
This is Mania. He hates everything.
Goodness.
No, it's not it.
No.
Should we...
I was pointing to like the ghost lights because I haven't had the encounter.
Oh, to
seen
your
ghost
strange
lights before.
encounter. Oh, okay.
So he
Yeah,
doesn't-
that would be a good way to play into it.
But he knows it's a torch.
It doesn't matter. It do not matter. Okay. So Seth, Roy, you two continue on ahead, leaving Jebediah to his own devices as he stays behind to snuff these torches. As you guys continue on, there is another brief stint of darkness, obviously save for your electric torch, before you come across another set of these torches that continues on. Their cavern itself no longer descends. It has since, for the most part, flattened out again into a straight pathway. As you two continue on deeper into this cavern, the ambient sounds that play off of the slick sea stone walls down here change. It is no longer just the sound of dripping water and your guys' slick footsteps on the sea floor. There is something else coming from much, much further in. Could I have the both of you make me a listen check?
That is a no for me.
Regular success.
Regular success.
I got a 73.
What's your listen?
45.
Yeah, no, you don't hear nothing. Roy, you hear it. Faintly. Very faintly. It's something... a conversation? You hear voices. You hear people's voices. And it's not just one or two people. It's a group of people. You can't quite make out what they're saying. You can't really make out much about the details of the conversation, the tone, anything really pertaining to it, short of it being a conversation of some kind.
I think we have found ourselves little smugglers down here.
What are you talking about?
I hear people. A whole bunch of them.
Down the hall?
Yeah.
I don't hear nothing.
That's because you missing part of your ear.
Let me know if I catch back up with them.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
So if anyone, I don't remember if I said this or not, but during the war, a bullet grazed my ear and blew off the earlobe of my ear. And so I just... Okay.
He's very lucky.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Shall we proceed with caution?
With caution. Do we see anything up above other than torches?
No.
I think I should put this out. I'm gonna turn the flashlight off.
Okay, so you snuff the light from your electric torch and put it away.
Should I take the rifle out?
That's entirely your prerogative.
The lawman brought the long arm of the law here for this expedition.
Yeah, I have a revolver and a boot knife and a rifle with me. I'll keep it on.
Okay, you keep the revolver out?
Yeah.
Alright. Our two beefy boys are continuing on with the big irons out. Alright. So the two of you continue on. By the time they reach the next step of their advancement, Jebediah, you will have finished with the last of the torches. It is now completely dark in this tunnelway again. Save for the faint glow much, much further ahead in the tunnelway of you of what are probably more torches. So you continue on. Do you stop to snuff these torches as well? Okay. I had to ask because this is almost borderlining a compulsion for you at this point. So I will allow you to do that. It will be another brief stint of time before you catch up to these two again. So,
it's really
Roy
gonna suck
and Seth.
if we have to run away and we just can't see anything.
Either way.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
That would
can't see
suck.
either.
So, Roy, Seth, you two continue on, guns at the ready for whatever may be. As the two of you continue on now exercising caution as you advance, you guys get a bit further along, and there is a point where you can clearly see what is probably another descent into the cavern. But judging by the illumination coming from the torches and the illumination coming from the torches up ahead after this descent, it probably looks like it doesn't go down maybe more than 5, 6, maybe even 10 feet of another descent. It's very brief. But as you guys get closer to this descent, there is a new sound that is added to the mix, to this new, I guess we'll call it a symphony in some ways, of sounds that are playing in this cavern. You both hear the sound of rushing water.
A Russian water?
Rushing water.
In America?
We only sell American water.
How thick are these torches?
They're about your average sort of hand torch that you would probably see on like an archaeology dig of some kind. They're nothing fancy. They're definitely handmade, but they're nothing fancy for the most part.
Could I cut the tips off?
Absolutely. The sort of tinder, not the tinder box, but the sort of like kindling and such at the top of the torches. Yeah, you can easily cut those off.
All right, I'm gonna start, instead of trying to stuff them out up against the wall, the last pieces of them, I'm just gonna start cutting tips off.
Okay, and then just leaving them to just eventually burn out. Okay, yeah, that works.
So they'll have a slight glow.
Okay.
I went to write down rushing water and I wrote down Russia.
Yeah, up ahead, you hear the sounds of Russia. Oh no! The sounds of mass production haunt me. Oh no!
Underwater river?
I guess it's not impossible.
Mighty strange.
It is strange. Kind of as strange as Jeb back there.
Either of you can
Nothing
make
tops
me.
that.
Either of you can make me a natural world roll to see if this is something that would be common for the most part.
Can I do geology instead?
Yes, you can.
Wasn't.
Oh, wow. I got a hard success.
You got a hard success on geology?
Yep.
So, judging by the nature of the sea stone around you and with how deep underground you presumably are, an underground river of some kind, well, you would need to know the size of the river, right, to know if this is very, very much an oddity or something, but waterways, long lengths of underground channelway, these sort of rushing reservoirs of water that cut through the deep stone underneath the earth, it's not uncommon. It's kind of where a lot of the water sources that run through some of the cities out in the Midwest even, where they get their water, a lot of the natural wells built on people's lands, they get them from rushing waterways and reservoirs that cut deep beneath the stonework of, the natural earth around you. So, it's not uncommon, but judging by the sound of the rushing water, this is something large, a large body of water for the most part, probably a fairly wide river. So, that in and of itself is a bit strange, but the concept of an underground raging river itself is not so strange.
I did not expect to find something like this down here, I will say.
I didn't know what I was gonna find down here, so this is all new to me.
Yeah, you came looking for missing people, and now you got underground rivers, like...
Find torches.
We're finding people.
You find people?
There might be the missing people.
Jeb's still back there.
Jeb's still... We can leave.
Very
So,
much
Keep
so.
pushing forward.
Slowly.
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 Slow advancement. Jebediah, as you
6
finish
going
up
dark.
with this next set of torches, you continue on, and you reach the next set of torches that continue onwards. Do you stop to do the same thing to these two? Okay, so I can safely assume Jebediah is going to stop and snuff out every set of these torches on the way to these two. Okay, so I will keep that in track in my mind, where Jebediah is in location to you two. And it's going, and it's going, and these two are gone. So, the two of you continue onwards, now passing this first short descent deeper into the Sea Stone Cavern. As you guys get past the part of this descent, there is a much smaller set of torches. Before, they were in formations of 6, 3 and 3 on the left and right walls proper. And this one, it's 1 and 1. But the reason for that being is because this short descent ends in what is clearly an excavated entryway into an antechamber ahead of you. But this antechamber itself then opens up into a much larger chamber that you can see at first glance ahead of you all. And it is in this much larger chamber that you find the source of the rushing water sound. As you guys can see, situated in what probably at first glance would, on calm waters, would have been a whirlpool or a tide pool, but what is now before you in this much larger open chamber on the other side of the antechamber is a rushing whirlpool. It looks very animated.
So
I got nothing, bud.
Can we see anything other than that?
So the antechamber itself is set up in a way. It definitely looks like people have been living here. You see what look to be bedrolls and sleeping cots set up in this antechamber. Not only that, but impressively enough, there have been what appear to be like tables and seating arrangements carved and chiseled out of the sea stone itself, kind of situated almost like living room tables and probably makeshift sofas that have been set up here in this antechamber room. So before you, the antechamber looks inhabited for the most part. The impressive displays of what look to be tables, seating arrangements, and probably like elevated situations to for people to sort of lay out their bedrolls atop have been carved out of the sea stone in this antechamber. Judging by the number of available spots to sleep in this room alone, judging by the bedrolls and sleeping cots that have been set up, you would surmise there's probably about close to 24 people who have been living in this antechamber. It definitely would be somewhat crowded for the most part in here, but the larger chamber on the other side, the one with the raging whirlpool in the center of it, probably has other sleeping arrangements for other individuals here. There is what would best be described as something almost akin to a small settling colony that has been living down here in terms of the number of individuals and individual spots for sleeping you see in just these two chambers alone, at least from what you can make out at first glance.
This may be just a thought, but should we wait for Jeb?
I do think we're a little bit out of our element, even with Jeb. Seems like we got ourselves a little bit of a cult down here. Strange folks living below ground.
That's definitely what you heard earlier. From where we're standing, is there any sort of like vantage point to watch from, or is this?
I mean, you do have sections of wall you could hug in the antechamber that would obscure you from sight to the other main chamber. But in terms of vantage points to have lookout, you might need to go into the larger chamber to find something like that.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, so I'm kind of thinking of like waiting and watching to see what happens. Because do we see? Should we roll to?
Are there any people?
Yeah.
No people in these
Not in the
rooms.
main room?
Not in the antechamber or the main chamber. Not at first
voices.
glance.
So you heard the voices, but can we watch them, or you just want to skedaddle on out of here?
Came this far, might as well keep moving.
Yeah.
But let's hug the walls.
Okay, so each of you hug the walls and continue onwards. As you do, you cross through the antechamber, and yeah, getting a better look at it now being actually inside the room proper, there are a multitude of different what is the word for it? Articles and items of people who have lived here. You see what look to be plates and eating utensils kind of situated on some of the tables, and some of these raised almost like stone bed platforms for people to lay their bedrolls on. There are a multitude of what look to be magazines and books, and even coloring books, probably for children down here. You come to the conclusion, albeit it's probably not a concrete conclusion in your guys' head, that there are probably whole families living down here. For whatever reason that may be, neither one of you can kind of really come to a clear answer on that. You kind of spend probably a brief moment racking your brain over it. Like, why would anyone live so far under the surface of the earth? That's just absurd. There's no sunlight. I can only imagine how difficult it would be to get food down here, let alone maintain it down here. These are questions that hang in your mind as you continue through the antechamber and into the larger chamber proper, the one with the whirlpool. As you guys cross into this chamber, the only sound, the predominant sound that encompasses this whole room is the raging water before you. The very aggressive circulation of this water in constant rapid rotation. It's almost threatening. Like, you're almost positive if you fell in, you probably would not be able to get out. That's how aggressively this water is turning in place. This kind of, as you guys know with a whirlpool, it is a downwards pulling sort of suction.
So we only see beds. There's no sort of like house type thing. No sheds. No
sheds or anything like that. The closest other thing to the beds would have been the tables and like these stone sofas, so to speak, that were carved out of the sea stone here, but nothing to resemble anything like a closet, like a pantry, nothing like that whatsoever.
Is there anything that we can see that's anywhere of like? There's no signs of struggles here. It just literally just looks like someone's living here.
Looks like people probably maybe a dozen or so families have been living in happy union down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible Miss Mays just wanted to live with these folks?
It's a possibility. I mean, it seems kind of weird. It seems kind of strange leaving your whole family and not telling anyone.
I mean,
Does she have issues with her family? I didn't know her very well.
I never had the pleasure, sir.
As the two of you are discussing this, the whirlpool stops rotating. Not immediately, it's slow. But eventually, almost as if someone has flipped the off switch on it, the water's rotation, its rapid, aggressive rotation, stops until it is still water again.
Stop flushing.
After about a brief minute or so. Yeah, it stopped flushing,
Just a big old washing machine. It's fine.
It's a toilet.
Oh, yeah.
It's a communal
This is
toilet.
where they poo.
It's a communal toilet. You guys broke the toilet. Congratulations.
Oh,
no.
no.
So the water ends as still water again. And kind of now standing in the room and kind of taking in the atmosphere of the room for a moment. Now that the water has stopped, there is a scent that hangs in the air from the water. Roy, you would know it very well, actually. It's seawater. This pool of water in the center of the room is water directly from the ocean.
Hey, this might be a little strange, but it's not fresh water. That's ocean water. I mean,
Yeah,
All the way
and-
down here.
And Seth, you feel it too as you kind of take that inhale in, that slight sting in your nostrils from the saltiness of the seawater.
This is out of my element, boy. I don't understand this.
I just love the idea in my head that you both refer to each other as boy or young man, but you both are 27.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
I say sir.
You say sir because you're the respectful one. He's just like boy, like you're older than him or something.
It's very, very, very southern way of talking, you know.
It's very true.
Everybody's
Yeah, it's
Seth.
very true.
Or Mister.
Yeah. Could I get a spot hidden roll from the both of you for this open chamber? By the way, to give you a better representation of the size of the open chamber, the antechamber itself is about roughly the size of this room, right?
Okay.
The open chamber, the one with the tide pool in the center, is much larger, about half the size of what would be a high school gymnasium. It's a very large room.
Dude,
Okay.
What'd you get?
I got an extreme success. I got a 4.
I got a regular success by 1.
You got oh, wow. Okay, so Seth, you are taking a look around the room proper. Now that the water has calmed down, you have a bit more of a clearer head to sort of take in the parameters of this open chamber here. It is definitely very odd. The one thing that is odd to you is the ceiling of this chamber is very spherical, kind of like a dome, right? There is a hole in the center of the ceiling that burrows straight upwards. You can't see how far up it goes because after a point it's just darkness. But judging how far under the ground you are, you're not sure where exactly that hole should be leading to. If it even leads to somewhere else.
Yeah, I got a better score than you.
I got a better score than you, nerd. Roy, with your extreme success, there's something odd about this room. So, on the left and right hand sides of this chamber, there is a clear indent in the walls. Like something that's kind of been like chiseled out to sit something down in it. Judging by the fact that there is not even the thinnest layer of debris or dust or anything, it's probably populated very often. There are grooves on the bottom of these indents, probably to situate something akin to like a trophy or a statue. Something, you know how the bases of certain statues or trophies have like those 4 pegs to situate themselves on, those little stumps on the bottom. You can clearly see grooves on the bottoms of these sort of indents in the wall where something is meant to be situated there. While that is odd to you, as you are kind of turning back to inform Seth of what more you've discovered about the room, you see something in the water. You watch a shadow disappear beneath the surface of the water, as if something had come up to look, and right as you turned around, descended back into the water.
Hey, you see that?
See what?
In the water there was something there.
I saw the hole in the ceiling. I didn't see nothing else.
I couldn't tell if it was a fish or...
Was it big?
Wouldn't be a gator in salt water. Was it big? Was it small?
It looked fairly big. Probably about as big as a shark.
You're not gonna believe this, but like a shark?
Down here? Nah, there's no way.
A person, maybe?
Jebediah,
Sinking below the waves?
you eventually reach the entrance to this antechamber after the two of them are having their discussion. You clearly see Roy and Seth ahead of you. They're having a conversation of some kind in this large chamber on the other end of the antechamber, where there is clearly a pool of water in the center of the chamber. The antechamber before you kind of almost looks like a living room mixed in with a bedroom. It very much looks like people have been living here, but you're far under the ground. Why would anybody live down here?
Drugs.
You're very right. This could be a drug den.
Are you saying that? Like out loud?
Yeah, the both of you are definitely within earshot to faintly make out Jebediah's voice.
Jesus! Jeb! Get over here!
I just walk over.
We all want to stay very cool.
It
Is
do
there
be
any
dark
place
on the
to
way back now, though.
Is there any stealth area around here that could kind of blend in or stealth?
The lighting in these chambers hasn't really changed much. It's a bit more dim. It's not quite pitch black in here. There is some sort of ambient light source coming from somewhere, so it's dim in these rooms, but it's not dark. If you wanted to do a stealth check, you could.
I'm gonna try it. 33, my stealth is a 56.
Okay, so it's a normal success. Okay. So once again, you kind of, sticking to a lot of the dimmer parts of the inner walls of this next chamber, you kind of cling to them much as water clings to a blade of grass. You are doing your absolute hardest to be not seen.
Frog from the Emperor's New Groove.
Pretty much, yeah. You are doing your absolute best to not be seen. If not by these two, by whatever else may be up ahead. By the way, up ahead on the other end of this chamber, there is not an open sort of entryway like it was in the antechamber. There is a door. It is a stone door, something that has been chiseled out.
How do we proceed, Mr.
I would like to, while they're like talking and I'm kind of hidden, I would like to just kind of like look around and see if I notice anything in particular.
In this chamber?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to roll me a spot hidden then?
Y'all. That is a 15. My spot hidden is a 65, so that's a hard success.
Nice. Okay. I thought it was going to be an extreme, but no, that's a little lower.
I mean, I could
He's like
use
2 points off.
I could use 2 points of being extreme.
That's up to you, bud. What's your luck looking like?
45. Yeah, might as well. Let's see it.
Okay. You want to burn 2 points of luck to make that an extreme?
Yeah.
Okay. As you're looking around, I'm basically going to give you the same information I gave Zach.
Okay.
You see these indentations in the wall where something could clearly be situated in them. You do see the hole in the ceiling that burrows straight upwards and eventually is just pretty much swallowed by darkness. You're not really quite sure where it goes, considering how far underground you are. You come up to the tide pool, you very clearly smell it. Your amount of time coming down the East Coast, you very much would have been reminiscent to the smell of seawater, that faint stinging in your nostrils from the salt in the water itself, that sort of almost briny after smell that hangs just after the initial salt. It is staring into this tide pool that you realize this is not like a swimming arrangement or something that's kind of situated that has a bottom. No, this water eventually goes so dark you can't see the bottom of it. Where it goes, you're not exactly sure. With your extreme success, though, as you're kind of studying the tide pool, something catches your attention in the pool itself. You probably would almost mistake it, but it stands out clearly to you with your extreme success. It stands out clearly to you amidst the darkness of the deep water here in this tide pool. You see eyes. A pair of silvery glowing eyes looking up at you from deep in the tide pool. Can you make me a sanity roll, please?
So what's he rolling for?
So he's rolling for his sanity. He has to roll lower than whatever his sanity score is.
15.
15?
My sanity score is a 52.
52. And you said a 15? You're good. You don't lose any points of sanity for this.
That's dark.
It is a little unnerving, but you steel yourself for the most part. Okay, so you're going up to the wall.
Where the indents are.
Yes.
And I would like to, push on these indents and see if I feel anything specifically.
Okay. So these indents don't budge at all. These were clearly made to situate something in them. Something probably with stump legs or legs beneath it of some kind. But there's something to keep it from basically sliding around for the most part, if it were to slide around for whatever reason that may be.
Okay.
So he's over there. We're still in the same room, right?
Yeah, he's right now. He's feeling around in one of the indents in the wall.
I'm gonna as I'm kind of just taking in the environment, kind of talking to Roy a little bit. Just turn. Jeb, you see something? What you doing?
I saw eyes.
Huh?
Question.
Yeah, what's up?
We're in the circular with the whirlpool, right?
Yeah, you are in the chamber with the tide pool in the
center.
center.
The wall wet?
No.
The wall's not wet?
Nope. The wall is dry.
Is the floor wet?
The floor, just past a couple inches around the tide pool is dry.
Okay. Does it, based on looking at it, can we tell if the water goes that high?
At first glance, no. It doesn't seem as if the water from the tide pool itself comes out. If it comes out, it's not naturally.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I'm asking is, does it look like it could? Water has?
No. So where the water line is for the tide pool in comparison to the edge of the sea stone sort of walkway that encapsulates this tide pool, there is about a very clear 3.5 to 4 inch divide between the water line and the actual stonework itself.
Jeb, you're saying you seen the eyes in the water?
Yes.
It's like the water never
It's very clear to you that if the water were to rise to this point, it would not be done naturally.
Well, yeah. I'm not asking that. I'm just saying, can we see because you can look and see on stones they got a sheen to them because of water erosion. Does it look on the walls like the water has ever in the past?
Oh, no. No, definitely not. On the sides of the inside of the tide pool, yes, it very clearly looks as though the water probably raises a bit higher than it's situated right now.
Right. Okay.
After talking to Jebediah and confirming that he saw eyes, and now
in the water, yes.
Roy has in fact also seen something, I am going to get as close as not on the edge of it, but kind of just going to flash the flashlight in,
into the water?
Yeah.
Okay. So give me a spot hidden roll. Your check will not be, your check for information will not be as tight.
I got a 10.
Okay, what's your spot hidden?
My spot's hidden is 65.
Okay, so that's an extreme success. Okay, so, Seth, you are clicking on the flashlight again and looking into the water. As how I explained to Jebediah, the water goes much deeper than you probably would have thought. you're actually not really quite sure how deep this water goes. As you're kind of shining your light down into the water, yeah, it goes on for quite a bit. This probably could have been interpreted as like some kind of like relaxation pool, maybe like something fun for the kids to play in. That sort of concept is immediately out the window as you're kind of looking and see that this water goes down much further than even your light can reach. It is only as with your extreme success that you graze over certain parts of the water, you can see something. There's something down there. You can't quite make out the shape of it, just judging by the distance away you are from whatever it is. But there is something down there, and as your light occasionally passes over whatever it may be, there is movement from it. And after that movement, ascension.
It's coming up?
Yes, and it is coming up quickly.
I'm just gonna... Hey guys, it's coming up.
Put it down.
You'll have to be a bit more specific, sir.
It's coming towards the top of the water.
What?
Put it down.
I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna... and I'm gonna back up.
Okay.
Just
Seth is backing up from the tide pool with his gun pointed at it.
I'll raise my gun up.
Okay, so Jebediah, these two have their guns pointed at the tide pool.
So there's an entrance to this whole place, right?
Yes, there is an entrance. There are, for the most part, what you can assume, two entrances.
Like
there is the closed stone door at the other end, and then there's the way you came in that goes into the antechamber.
I go towards the way that we came in.
Okay, towards the antechamber.
Yeah.
Okay, you just hang in there.
I'm waiting right there.
Hold on, you said that so there's like it's like a giant, like, kind of like this, right?
It's like a dome, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, but to enter from the antechamber into this bigger chamber, right? There's like a little pathway.
Yeah, there's basically like a
Can we
chiseled
hide
out
behind it?
archway. What?
Can we hide behind it? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, you absolutely can.
Come on, Roy, we're gonna go hide behind this real quick.
Okay.
So we're gonna run behind the door and kind of like hide behind the door.
Stack up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are stacking up.
Yeah.
Can I get stealth checks from the both of you since Jebediah has already made one?
Woo! My boy, what is this? What is going on today?
I got a 39 and my stealth is 50.
Okay, so that's a normal
I
success.
got an extreme.
You got an
I got a
extreme?
9. My
Man
stealth.
becomes the wall.
My boy, this man has become one with the
I just hid
darkness.
behind a cardboard. Hid underneath the cardboard box.
Okay, so Roy has become one with the darkness and is hidden away. Jebediah, you obviously still have your normal success, so you're kind of taking up whatever sort of available spot is here to hide behind this section of sea stone wall in the antechamber alongside Seth. So, the three of you lie in wait. As I'm pulling up something real quick. There you are. So, the three of you lie in wait for what feels like hours. It is only a few minutes, but the anxiety, the tension of the moment is agonizing. You definitely, you definitely saw something in the water. What you saw in the water, at least from what you could make out, Seth, was definitely not human looking, at the very least.
I don't know if I've explained this enough, but the flashlight is off, so we are...
Oh yeah, I would imagine you turned it.
Just like,
I would imagine once you full booked it out of the room, you probably turned it off because, oh God, what is that? Yeah. So as the three of you are lying in wait for whatever it is that you saw in the water to come topside, it is about 3 to 4 minutes long, slow, agonizing minutes pass before the three of you hear the sound of breaching water. And you watch as a pair of hands, a pair of finned hands come out from the water, pulling itself up and out of the tide pool. What comes out is something that is foreign, alien to the mind, to your own comprehension of humanoid-looking figures. And it also stands fairly tall, what you would imagine to be anywhere between 6 to 6.5 feet tall.
Normal.
It is large. It is a very, very big creature that comes out. On its back, there are sets of what look to be spines and fins on its back. And as it sort of takes those first few wet, plopping footprints away from the tide pool, it looks around and makes this suction sound as it looks around the room.
Slowly look at Roy.
I need all three of you to make me sanity rolls as you are seeing this creature.
I rolled a 50.
You rolled a 50. What's your sanity?
54.
54.
69.
Nice. Yes, sir. He gets extra points for that, right?
I have a 52 insanity.
That's a technical count, right? I failed hard.
You failed?
Yeah.
And you both passed?
No, I failed.
Oh, you
I
failed as
passed.
well? You passed? Okay, can you roll me a d4? Because it'll technically be a d2. You rolled a 2?
Yeah.
You lose 1 point of sanity. Can I have the both of you roll me d4s? Your rolls are d4s.
You roll
You said 1, right?
Yeah, you lose 1.
2.
Alright. Jebediah, you lose 3 points of sanity. Roy, you lose 2 points of sanity as the both of you are bearing witness, or technically all three of you really, are bearing witness to some sort of fish-human hybrid that has come out of the tide pool.
Tasty.
I hate that you said tasty. I hate that so much.
You know what I hate?
What?
Everything.
Everything.
By the way, I also forgot to mention, these things do have tails.
Is it spiny tails or just...
Wait, it's-
No, it kind of looks almost like the tail of an eel.
Wait, it's the thing from The Shape of Water. I go romance it. Charm?
Can I roll charm to? Can I roll charm to seduce the fish person?
Can I
Should
bed
do-
this fish person?
Can I seduce? Wait, what'd you say?
Can I bed this fish person?
Bend?
No, bed.
Ben,
Oh,
Ben
Ben.
wants to
Ben
lay
rolls
them
on
I was
the
like,
down.
ground.
it's water
Ben.
bended?
So, what do the three of you do?
Maybe lock them doors and turn it.
Oh God!
I'm gonna take one of my throwing knives and try and pin its foot down.
Okay, I need a hard throw roll
What is
from
your
you.
Oh my goodness. Jason, why?
Ciao. Nope. 65. My throw is a 60. So it is a...
Why?
Okay.
I don't know if what
I
Roy's doing,
have-
but I'm just like...
I have 2 options for you. 3 options technically.
The worst one.
You can take the fail
Okay.
and give yourself raise suspicion with this creature. You can burn luck, however much luck you need to burn to make this a hard success, or you can push the roll. But if you're going to push the roll, I need you to tell me what you're doing to push the roll. Also,
Could just use 35 luck.
What's your throw?
My throw is 60.
he needs a 30 to pass.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he would need to burn 35 points of luck to make
How
it a
much luck
hard
do you have?
success.
43.
So, Jason,
That's up to
with
you.
pushing the roll, I allow you to re-roll. You have to take the new result, and if you fail on the new result, you get a worse outcome.
Right.
Also, do remember what I told you. If you want to burn that much luck, go right ahead. Be
I'm
my
gonna
guest.
take the fail and raise suspicion.
Okay, take the fail and raise suspicion. Okay. So, Roy, Seth. Yeah, Roy, Seth, from your guys' hiding positions, you watch as Jebediah inches himself out enough, and you hear the as he reduces a throwing knife and throws it directly at this creature.
I start cussing in Spanish for no reason.
For no reason. You're just suddenly fluent in Spanish.
Wait, are you actually?
Just for this moment. Because I could, but no.
Is your character actually doing
No,
it?
I'm messing around.
Because
No.
if so, I'd be like, that's Cthulhu.
Throw
Throw the
it.
knife at
So, you watch as this throwing knife sails into the chamber, presumably towards the foot of this thing, and it clatters onto the side of the edge of this tide pool, and you hear the boop as it falls into the water.
Just cringing
Jebediah,
so
you
hard.
inch back into your hiding spot, naturally as you do, and this thing kind of turns around and it begins to slowly walk towards the antechamber.
Perfect. That's exactly where I want it to. All right, guys. Watch this.
This is exactly what I wanted to do. This is all falling according to plan.
So there's a little. I'm imagining a little bit of a hallway between here and the antechamber.
It's very, very small, probably less than a foot.
Perfect. That's exactly.
It's probably like a
more
foot
kinda
and
like
it's like a foot and a half of space between the antechamber and this larger chamber with the tide pool in the center.
Perfect. That's exactly how large I need it to be. I'm gonna throw another knife at it, and then
I was gonna say, yeah, you do get 2 attacks with it.
and
Okay.
then back up into the antechamber.
Okay. Are you aiming for a specific part of the body, or are you just throwing the knife?
A center mass.
Center mass. Okay, give me a throw roll then.
Grishadiki. 86.
Fail.
You got an 86?
Yeah.
Okay. So, second verse, same as the first. You come out from your hiding spot. This thing, by the way, now sees you as you've come out of your spot, and you hurl another knife at it. As you do, you are so sure that you are getting center mass on this weird fish monstrosity thing. But instead, you throw it arcing just a little too high as it flies over at least what you would assume to be the shoulder of this thing, and you hear the clatter of metal against sea stone as the knife hits the wall and clatters to the floor. It has now locked eyes with you and makes this very kind of low, warbly, guttural sound. Kind of almost like if the best way I can describe this would be almost as if a wolf was growling at you underwater.
I smile.
You are a freak of nature, and I love that.
I'm gonna
shoot Jebediah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna holster the revolver and I'm gonna take the rifle out because I'm like, oh no.
I'm still hidden, right?
Yes, the both of you
we're
are
still
still
hidden,
hidden.
yeah.
This thing only sees Jebediah
I'm gonna
right now.
maneuver back into the room more, but like hugging the wall. So like,
So further into the
if this is the
antechamber.
opening and they're in there, I'm
Yeah.
gonna kind of like slink around here.
So further into the antechamber is where you're headed.
Yeah, the first antechamber.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna start making my way, like backing up to the way we came.
Okay, so back towards the tunnel.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna do what I said. I'm gonna follow him, but not closely.
Gotcha. Okay. So, you will have one action to take again, because this creature is going to spend its action coming closer to you. It takes its first set of footprints into the antechamber, now standing a mere 7 feet from you.
Perfect.
Can I have you make me a spot hidden roll?
Him?
Yeah, just Jebediah. Unless the two of you want to also.
Yeah.
Oh, why not?
He
Jason
failed it.
is rolling like doggy doo-doo.
97.
I did not.
97? What is your spot hidden?
65.
That is a fumble.
Yay.
Okay.
I got a regular success.
I got a
Regular
hard
success?
success.
You got a hard success. Okay, so you'll see it. As you are looking at this creature as it steps into the antechamber, you are kind of studying it for a moment from your hiding spot. As it steps out, there is something odd. There are these bits of like wet cloth that cling to what you would assume to be a replacement for a bicep on this thing's arms. There are these bits of wet cloth that cling to the thighs and biceps of this creature. At first glance, with your hard success, it's almost this blue with white polka dot pattern. It's kind of almost the same pattern as the dress Anna was wearing the night she disappeared.
Would I know that?
Yeah, it's a fairly common dress that Anna would wear on her daily proceeds through
so I'm
Port
assuming
Rouge.
I would notice this just because of other fellow investigators or something. Like,
Yeah,
would've
so
heard it.
yeah,
I
so
wouldn't
on her
know,
missing
but-
persons flyer, it was listed that she was last seen wearing a blue with white polka dot pattern dress that she was wearing the night that she went missing.
that's on the arm?
That is at least what you presume to be the wet bits of cloth that cling to the biceps and thighs of this creature. Can I have you make me an intelligence roll?
A 9.
What's your intelligence?
55. So extreme success.
Extreme success.
Must be nice.
The gears turn in your brain, Seth. Yeah, the gears turn in your brain. The dots start to connect, and a horrifying realization comes to your brain. This weird, this strange, almost what we would be akin almost to an anglerfish minus the little dangling light thing on its forehead. This weird fish monstrosity. Oh God. Is this thing Anna?
Oh,
Make me a sanity roll.
this thing dead.
Ooh, yeah, no, that's a fail.
Did you fail?
I got a 93.
Can you roll me a d8?
It's a D8.
Have you lost any sanity so far?
7? I lost 1.
And how much did you lose just now? 7?
Yeah.
It better not to realize things.
So, you are in a bout of madness.
So, hold on,
Seth,
so I go to... 1, 2, 3, 4.
so you've lost 8 points total so far. What is
Right.
your starting sanity?
54.
Okay. Seth, you are in a bout of madness. When the realization hits you, when you finally connect the dots and you figure out the fate Anna has fallen to, you realize something. Something like this wouldn't happen to a good little Christian girl of Port Rouge. No, Anna has to have been a sinner. You have to save her soul. She is too far gone. Damnation awaits her. The only thing left to do is to put her down. And compulsion takes...
Yep.
Compulsion of the mind overtakes compulsion of your body as you fire off a round from your rifle at her. Can you roll me a firearms rifle check as you shoot at this fish Anna?
I make a 37, which is exactly a hard.
This is exactly a
success.
hard.
Yes.
Okay, so give me your damage result. There is an average you cannot go below.
Okay, so 2d6. So
Yeah, so 2d6 plus 4 is the damage for your rifle.
so 7 plus 4, so 11.
11. Oh, nice. So you fire off a shot at Fish Anna. She's too far gone.
Fish
You
Anna.
have to save her. That is your duty as a sheriff of Port Rouge. It is your civil duty to keep the people safe and to help those who are too far gone from the light of God. And that couldn't be any more true as you take aim with your rifle and you fire a shot that rips directly through this fish creature's throat. It begins to gargle and choke as this deep, what you presume to be like this very dark or even this black Icarus blood spills out of this creature's throat as you rip into it for 11 points of damage with your rifle. Roy, are you doing anything as you watch Seth draw his rifle and fire at this thing?
Following his lead, I'm going to fire at it too.
Okay.
I do have a question though. So with firearms, it has the attacks 1 and there's parentheses 3?
Yes.
What's the 3 again?
So the 3 is you can fire 3 shots instead of 1. For every shot beyond the first, you are going to accrue a penalty die.
Okay.
So a penalty die is the opposite of a bonus die. You are going to roll another percentile and take the higher result,
Okay.
making you more likely to miss, effectively.
I'm just going to fire the 1 shot.
Okay. So give me a firearms handgun roll.
I do not make it.
You do not make it. What did you get?
62, and I had to get a 50.
Okay. So, following Seth's example, you fire off a shot. Maybe it's because of the sight of this monstrosity before you that kind of frazzles you. How the antechamber is situated, the sound of a gunshot cracking off in here would be a bit disorienting, considering the reverberations off of the wall would echo and probably make the gunshot much louder than it needs to be. It disorients you for the moment as your shot also misses, only adding to the cacophony of loud noises that ring throughout this chamber. This fish creature falls down to 2 knees and 1 finned hand as it continues to choke and gurgle and spit out more of this Icarus blood onto the sea stone floor before you.
It's 7 feet away from me.
It is 7 feet away from you.
I'm gonna walk up, pull out my hunting knife, and go, "Peace be with you."
Okay, and give me a fighting brawl roll to stab into it. I will give you a bonus die for this because it is currently struggling to catch a breath of air.
That's which
So it's another percentile die, and he'll take the lower result.
10 or the
47.
The double number.
The double number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 47. My brawl is 75.
Okay, so that's not a hard, but a normal
regular.
success. Okay, roll your damage then.
Okay, it is 1d8. I need a d8. Plus damage bonus. Ka-chow.
So 1d4.
So
8.
7. Plus.
Oh.
Pow. 3.
So 10.
So 10 damage.
Okay, Jebediah, as you kind of come up to this thing as it's struggling to catch a breath, you kind of grab it by the back of its fish head. It is obviously very wet, slick to the touch, and is very much like if you just kind of grabbed like a tuna or a bass out of the water. That same sort of slick, very slimy
Kombat
feeling
finishes
sort
the
of
fish creature.
sensation on the skin. Nonetheless, you manage to grab hold of one of the dorsal fins that it seems to bear on the back of its head, and you drive your knife into whatever remains of its throat after Seth shot it. It looks at you with panic in its eyes before you rip the blade free, and it falls to the sea stone floor with a wet thud. It no longer moves, and a puddle of this blackened blood builds beneath it.
I look down and I just go, hate it.
Hate it here.
I'm going to, because I'm assuming I'm still, like, sinner.
Yeah, no, you're very much still in your bout of madness.
I'm gonna walk really, like briskly walk up over to it as he's, like, standing over it. You said it's lying down?
Yeah, it's
on its
lying
stomach?
down, like, on its stomach, yes.
So I'm going to, like, use my foot and kick it up so it's, like, flops over. And I'm just gonna take my boot knife and I'm just gonna etch a cross in its chest.
Okay, and you do that with no problem whatsoever. You, with the efforts of Jebediah, and probably not Roy so much, but I mean, he was there to help, you have saved this sinner's soul.
Good.
And that is enough to bring you out of your bout of madness, as you have saved yet another sinner on God's great earth.
I'm gonna kind of shake my head and just be like, "Ugh."
I'd like to go down to the tide pools.
Okay.
What in the hell is wrong with you two?
Hey Roy, I think this is Anna.
Then what the hell did you shoot it for?
She was a sinner.
Okay, give me a spot hidden.
I'm just gonna kind of walk to like the other side of the room and just kind of like think.
9.
We were acing our spots hidden test today. What in the world?
9.
That's an extreme success.
No, oh, you got another extreme success? Okay. As you're looking into the tide pool, you don't see any other sets of eyes or shadows moving amongst the darkness at the bottom of this tide, or what you presume to be the bottom of the tide pool. Things are presumably calm for the moment.
Shoot. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, after that, I'm gonna go back in the room there. So in the tide pool room, there's nothing else around, right?
Nothing else of note or importance here in the room.
The door is there, right?
There is a door on the other end of the room.
I'm gonna walk towards the door and try to open it.
Okay. It opens with no difficulty. It's a little stiff, the door itself. You'd imagine it's probably the equivalent of moving over a somewhat, tall stone slab. Not terribly thick, but it takes a little bit of effort, but eventually it does slide open much as a sliding door does. As it opens up, it opens into another section of tunnelway that doesn't descend, but continues on forward. There are no torches in this tunnelway.
Good.
Oh yeah, I would hate to hold up Jebediah again with snuffing out more torches.
I'm gonna put the rifle back on my back and get the revolver and the lantern. I'm gonna say, Hey, Roy, you coming?
You know, I'm not so sure I want to come with you fellers.
I'm not so sure if I could trust you folk anymore.
We were here to find these people, to rescue them, to save them. Look, I don't know if there was any saving her, but what the hell?
Look, if I didn't do what I did, Jeb would be dead.
No.
Well, I don't care about that.
By the way, real quick, just because I forgot to do it, Mr. Jebediah, could I have you roll me a sanity roll as this fish creature is brutally murdered by you?
40.
What's
My
your sanity?
is 49.
Alright, you're good. You lose 1 point.
I stay sane.
It's crazy to say that, as strange as he is, he's probably the most sane one out of the three of you for the most part.
I'm at 48 sanity.
46.
38.
He's literally the most sane one out of all of you, which is crazy to me. So,
I'm gonna, as they're arguing, I'm just gonna start walking down this other hallway.
this other tunnelway? Yeah. Since you're the one who opened it up, Jebediah, without missing a beat, continues on into the darkness of the tunnel ahead.
Actually, as I walk through the darkness and nobody's around me, I just go, this is nice.
This man is not fazed by total darkness. I love that about him.
To be fair, with both my phobia and mania, that's probably like...
It's probably for the best. Yeah, it's probably for the best, honestly.
That's my happy place, is nothing.
It's the total darkness.
I hate everything and do not like crowded places. Nothing around me, total darkness.
Love that.
So I'm going to walk up to Seth and be like, listen here, alright? As soon as we're finished with this, as soon as we find the rest of those people, figure out what the hell happened, how they ended up like that, we're through. I'm out of here. I'm reporting you.
That's fine. Do what you gotta do. Because I had to do what I had to do.
Jebediah could not be bothered by this
turn the flashlight back on
and
walk
continue down the tunnelway. So, as you do, and you, all three of you, Jebediah ahead of the both of you, continue on in this tunnelway, this dark, probably somewhat lonely tunnelway. The ambient sounds around you are the same as your guys' initial descent. It is just dripping water and the slick, wet footfalls you all produce upon the sea stone floor. It is not too terribly long of a walk, maybe about 4 or 5 minutes or so, before you guys see something up ahead. Another chiseled open entryway into, well, it's hard to describe, right? Because this shouldn't be this far down, but you can clearly see what looks to be like a glass window, a huge glass window that at first glance looks like it just looks into nothingness. But as you guys come to the entryway into this chamber, you realize it does look at something. The ocean. A deep, dark section of the ocean. You can only tell because faintly, very faintly through the stonework, you can hear water. Not moving, not rushing, still water and the currents that move through the deep ocean. This chamber, this chiseled entryway into this next chamber is baffling in size. It is almost as if you have opened up into a large, the best way to describe it would kind of be like a very deep and steep amphitheater of sorts. There is very clearly what looks to be a center stage of some kind. It is this carved half circle situated at the bottom of rows upon rows of stone steps that descend downwards towards this stage. Centered outwards almost in amphitheater fashion are rows upon rows of stone seatings, long stone benches and pews of all different varying sizes, but all made to situate hundreds of people. On this center stage, and even in some of the first 3 or 4 rows at the very, very front of this amphitheater, you see people. A lot of people. probably close to 50 or 60 people. And they're not just people. They're more of those fish things that are here too. Trying to piss off the whole auditorium. So, situated on this center stage, there is someone there, centered on this sort of podium situated near the front of this half circle stage that is situated at the very end of the amphitheater. There is someone there in the middle of some kind of proclamation. Maybe it's some kind of it kind of almost is like you've stumbled in on like a church service of sorts. There is someone who is shouting something aloud to the people that are gathered here, the people and these fish creatures that are also situated here. The thing that's odd to all three of you, however, is that the language that he is using to chant out to these people is not a language any of you understand. It's foreign, alien even, the language. It sounds like something that should phonetically sound, English, at least of some caliber, something that should be discernible by Aryan ears, but the language itself, the pronunciation, the hard enunciation on certain consonants is alien to all of you. You don't understand it. But everyone who's gathered here listens along intently. They are transfixed on this speaker on the stage. So much so that even if you were to have made a bit of noise coming into the room, I don't think any of them would have probably noticed. They are completely fixated on this person.
Reminds me of that Chancellor dude from Jeremy.
Oh no.
Just gonna look at Roy and be like, "You still blame me for what I did? Do you see this?"
Oh, do pray tell, sir. What is this?
I don't know.
There's a bunch of fish people down there with a guy speaking nonsense. This has got to be a cult.
There's about 50 of them.
There's about 50 to 60 individuals here, including the speaker on the stage.
I just walk in.
And what's to say we shouldn't just let them be?
And with no hostile regard whatsoever, I just walk in and I sit as close to the back as possible.
Okay, so you pretty much get like the first row you come up on and sit down.
Yeah, I try and make no noise whatsoever and just try and stealth as much as possible.
Yeah, so roll me a stealth then. Let's see how well hidden you are from anybody in the general populace noticing you.
21. That is a hard success.
That is a hard success. You blend in seamlessly. You make virtually no noise coming in to listen in on the service.
In the middle of a crowd. Just
As
literally fades in like Altair in the middle.
As I walk in, I just go.
Yeah, you blend in seamlessly with these people. These people are way too fixed on what is going on.
In fact, it's weird. I didn't notice the gills before.
As I sit down into this pew, I'm imagining, I'm just going to pull out my hunting knife and just hold it like this and just wait.
Okay, and with a hard success on your stealth, that does not blow your cover whatsoever. You blend in seamlessly to this crowd. They don't pay you any sort of mind.
From what we can see from where we're at, is the person on stage talking a normal person or a fish person?
They are a normal person.
No discernible features, hair, bald,
Not that you can tell. So the normal people that are situated here are dressed in these dark blue cloaks. The strange thing about the cloak is that this sort of edge trimming on the rim of the cowl and the sleeves and even the bottoms of these cloaks is this very pale grayish blue coloration, almost kind of like a wave pattern, as they're all situated here. The main speaker themselves is also dressed in this robe, but they also have this very pronounced amulet that is hanging off of a chain around their neck. Jebediah, because you decided to situate yourself in the crowd.
I am in the cloud.
He's part of the iCloud now. Could you roll me a Cthulhu Mythos roll to see if you recognize the symbol on this medallion?
Almost.
Hold on.
how much luck do you have left?
I have 43. I'm gonna use. So I have 13 in Cthulhu Mythos. I rolled a 20. I'm gonna use 7 points of luck to succeed.
To make it a normal success?
Yes.
Okay. So, Jebediah, you swear, maybe it was in a book you browsed at a bus station or two, or maybe it was when you stopped at I can't remember for the life of me remember the Central Library's name in Philadelphia, but
The Central Library.
you've said, yeah, it's probably something like that. You recognize this symbol. You don't have an immediate recollection of what the symbol pertains to, but the symbol on this medallion is a symbol that belongs to an outer god of the Cthulhu pantheon. If really you could even call it a pantheon of sorts. It is a collection of otherworldly and cosmic beings that are said to exist in the shadows of one's minds and in the far reaches of the stars, in the darkness between said stars that decorate the night sky. You remember reading a passage like that in a book regarding mythos of the world and other countries, but the symbol is a symbol you have seen before in one of these books. It doesn't immediately snap to you what it means, but you do recognize it.
Compelling.
I've thought about that.
I just pictured a Kingsman scene, just compelling.
I hate it.
But yeah, so you do recognize the symbol on his necklace. You just can't make heads or tails of who or what it belongs to again.
Okay. I have something I wanted to do.
Okay. The first things first, what are you two doing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at Roy and go, so, if you don't want to do anything to these people, what do you want to do? You want to go talk to them?
I mean, what's your idea?
At this point, I don't have an idea. I wasn't expecting to see fish sticks down there. Like,
I
that's...
just imagine from their perspective, I just look like a little church boy just sitting there.
Yeah, with
watching.
your white button up and your suspenders, just seated in the crowd, not wearing a cloak like they are.
And what's up with him? Is he one of them?
I don't know. He just went and sat down. Maybe he is.
He killed one of them, though.
Maybe he's weird. Maybe he may be touched. I don't...
He might be touched by the oddities.
I want to leave, sir.
May not be a bad idea, but what are we gonna do if the thing that I killed just so happened to be anime, which I'm gonna say it was.
You killed anime?
I killed an anime.
Animaze. There's an S at the end of
Animaze,
it.
sorry. Anna B. Maze.
Anna B. Maze.
If that was her, they're doing something to these people. Because there's no way that a girl like that would turn into a monster.
Oh, and what's your solution then, sir? We shoot them all? How much ammunition did you bring?
Don't worry about it.
He brought a whole 5 shots and that's it.
One.
Just one shot.
I already
One shot.
used
He already used it.
and it did made it count.
You definitely did make it count. You did literally almost all of its health in one shot.
So what you thinking? We should go back to the surface? Tell the rest of the... Do you think they're going to
Real
believe
quick,
us?
before Jebediah does his thing, could I have the both of you make me listen checks?
Nah.
I got a 69.
Nice.
What's your listen?
45, so no.
Okay.
57 and my listen's a 50.
I could
Okay.
use luck. I'm not gonna use luck.
Nah, I feel like it's not that important.
I'm gonna say if we both failed, it's because we're not paying attention. We're talking.
Yeah, you two are busy kind of consulting between
Hashing
one
out
another.
the finer points of
Yeah, the
philosophy.
finer points of what to do here. Jebediah, what are you doing? What is your idea?
Who's the closest in the pew? Actually,
Who's
not
the
far off.
who's the closest next to you in this pews? You have a fish person to your right and a normal human person in a cloak to your left.
To my left. Okay.
Yes, it appears to be an older woman, probably in her early 40s.
I'm gonna lean over to this older woman and just go. I didn't get a cloak.
Is that what you're saying to her? I didn't get a cloak.
I'm a drifter, man. I gotta blend in.
Wait, hold on. Do we see him talking to this person now?
Do you make any visible notion that you're leaning over to say something to her? No.
Okay.
I'm just looking dead ahead. I kind of like... I forgot my cloak. Like that.
Okay. I'm gonna have you make a roll for me. And you're not gonna like it. I need you to make me a fast talk roll.
5. Yeah.
If you don't burn luck and make
burn
that,
the luck. Burn the
You
luck.
get-
he got an 8.
My fast talk is a 5. So I'm going to burn. I'm gonna burn 8. I'm gonna burn 7 points. Yeah, 7.
To make it an extreme.
Yeah.
Okay. So mark off 7 points of luck.
Already done.
And as you lean over
Good
to this
dedication.
woman and you whisper to her, "I didn't get a cloak," she, without breaking eye contact to the speaker on the stage, with an open hand motion, motions off to a room on the side. Just kind of, if you were to walk along the length of the stage, there is what is clearly some kind of like hollowed out room, probably a closet of some kind. She, with an open hand motion, motions to the closet, never once breaking her eye contact off of the speaker on the stage.
Thank you. Is there a way that from my position to stealth over there without being seen?
I would need a stealth roll from you, and it's going to be hard because
Okay. But
you
that's
were
what I'm
trying.
asking. It's
Yeah,
fun.
you were trying to not draw any attention to yourself while crossing in front of a large group of people to walk over to the closet and grab a cloak. Okay. So if you want to make me a stealth roll, I will need a hard stealth roll from you.
How many people are in this pew with me?
In this row specifically, there are 9 people, not including you.
So if I kill 8 of them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that one, Chief. You might kill 1 or 2 of them before they jump on
This
you.
isn't D&D, man.
Yeah.
You might kill 1 or 2 of them before the rest of them gank you.
Yeah, your Amish powers may not be of
This
The spirit of the Amish is only going to carry you so far.
This man ends up
Okay,
food.
think it over for a second. You two, Roy and Seth, as you two are consulting.
So here's our options. We can go down there, we can talk to him, or we can go back to the surface. They're not going to believe us, so we can just take the body with us. It's going to be a longer walk, but it's better than us trying to explain this.
You know, I dare say that's not a bad idea.
I'm just
not a
gonna
bad
look
idea.
over at Jeb, and he's just doing that. I
Yeah,
guess
he is still seated at the pew amongst the crowd.
I think they got him.
Roy, Seth, could I have the both of you roll me a d4 real quick?
a 3.
Keep it on the table, Zach.
A 1.
A 1, okay. I need to double check something real quick. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Oh God. Okay. Yikes. Seth, as you're having your consultation here with Roy, you receive a sharp pain in your side as you feel 4 pointed things poke into your side, clearly piercing into your skin. I gotta roll damage. Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
For 5 points of damage, as stepping out from the darkness is wearing some of this a similar cloak to the other figures, but very clearly not human. Some quite literally half fish, half human hybrid thing has sank its claws into your side as it steps outwards a bit closer, obviously close enough to stab you, but now kind of stepping into the view of the light. Can I have the both of you make me sanity rolls as this thing shows itself to you?
Nope.
Yeah, nah.
Oh, you both fail?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh no, I remember how much it is. It's no, because you guys failed. Okay, you both lose 1.
Okay.
This thing steps outwards from the darkness, and it says to the both of you,
Gentlemen, are you here for the gathering? Just the deep one.
Just stabbed me!
I don't believe you both were invited.
I'm bleeding.
yeah, Seth, you're bleeding pretty bad. What is your max HP?
12.
Okay, so it's not quite a major wound yet.
I'm gonna... Because he's like right behind us, right?
He's right behind Seth right now.
Okay. I'm gonna like... Just spin and just in the head. Just...
You're going for a headshot?
Yeah.
Okay. Judging by how close you are... Okay, give me a roll just to see if your gun jams.
I got a 48.
Okay, so give me your damage roll for your revolver.
Okay. D10. It's already this.
Do I get
Plus-
an action
plus
after
2.
this?
Yes, you do.
9 damage.
9 damage. You quite literally blow off pretty much part of the cowl of the cloak and a whole chunk of its head as it you now get a better look at its face. Part of the face still carries the smallest resemblance to something that probably was once human, but it very clearly has fish eyes. It has these hard ridges, almost kind of like if the face were somewhat emaciated, the cheekbone sticking out, these hard ridges on its face, these rows of razor sharp teeth in its mouth, and what look to be gills, at least the beginnings of gills on its neck. None of that matters right now as you've quite literally blown a chunk of its dome off, and it looks as if it's struggling to even maintain any semblance of composure or coherency as you have popped the top off of this thing.
So he just did that to him, and he's still close to me?
Yes. He has freed the claws from you now, but...
I'm just gonna whip out the boot knife and just go.
Okay, give me a fighting brawl. What is it, Jebediah?
Is it loud enough so we hear
Yeah,
it?
so this is happening at the same time that everyone is going to hear the gunshot.
I made a normal success at a 48.
Okay, give me your damage roll.
D4 okay, so
Yeah,
2,
4 plus your...
just
Yeah,
like-
2d4 plus
from
2. That's a
behind
damage bonus for you.
so 4
It's
and a 2 plus, so 6, 8.
Okay, so 8 in total. Yeah, so you drive your boot knife into the throat of this thing, and much like the first fish creature you encountered, as you rip the blade free from this thing's throat, this black Icarus blood spills out from its throat and the hole that Roy has just blown into its head, and it looks up at you in agony and fear before it kind of almost quite literally flops over and dies on the ground before you. It is a good thing that both of you are immune to extreme acts of violence and murder. Otherwise, that would be more sanity loss. So the both of you are good. Jebediah, I'm assuming you haven't moved from your spot. Okay. The service falls silent as you hear from the top of this amphitheater-esque room a gunshot rings out. You're not sure if it's Roy or Seth, but a gunshot rings out, and the entire crowd's attention is drawn upwards to the gunshot, with a few curious eyes fixated on you, who is clearly not in a cloak
So as soon as I hear
or
the
a fish
gunshot,
person.
I'm going to stealth underneath one of these pews.
Okay,
I'm going to just try and...
give me a stealth check. If you want to not get seen immediately by the curious eyes that don't transfix to the gunshot, I will need a hard success from you.
You better do it.
Nope.
Okay.
Regardless of what you roll, it's not gonna help. It's a 73.
73. So I have 29 points of
Do you want to push the roll?
You know what? Yes. I'm
Okay.
going to push the roll.
How
And what
are
I'm
you
going
pushing
to
the
do
roll?
is I'm going to try and basically in one fluid motion, I'm going to try and the person next to me, as soon as they turn their head at all, I'm basically going to try and dip right underneath them in like a fluid motion.
Gotcha. Okay. So re-roll it and let's see what you get.
Just doing it real quick. Get up! Well, no.
Nope, that's actually worse.
That was
That's
worse.
actually worse.
What did you get?
77.
And what is your stealth?
56.
Okay, well, it's not a fumble, but it is a failure.
So if I use
So-
29 points,
I don't think you'll still succeed.
Because you
What
have to
did
get a
roll?
hard success.
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Yeah, because what did you roll?
77.
You would need to burn 47 points of luck to make it a hard
I
success.
don't have that. What
So-
I do have is a knife. And
So let me explain to you what happens on your pushed failure. So, the gunshot rings out. The crowd's attention is drawn to where Roy and Seth are, and in a quick snap judgment, you hit the deck as quickly as you can. You need to get out of sight of these people because you are not at all in any semblance of considered blended into this crowd any longer. Now that their sort of trance has been broken by the gunshot. As you hit the deck, you manage to successfully slide to the floor, kind of out of the immediate sight of the people around you. It is in the motion that you try to dive beneath the, you said the woman or the
pew, like the
pew itself, right? As you make this motion to dive under the pew itself, your arms catch on the ankles of one of the people in the cloak on the row behind you, and effectively bowls them over so they fall and collide with the pew itself, now bringing even more eyes off of these two and off of to the commotion that now you have just caused.
Awesome.
So can we do stuff? Or
Oh,
can we wait?
absolutely. The both of you still
I'm
can.
gonna look at Roy, not even saying anything, just run.
Hang on. I'm gonna point my gun at the person at the podium.
Okay.
Right. Where's Billy?
The speaker at the podium looks to you, and there is a brief stint of speaking in the language he was just proclaiming in. Once he realizes he has done so, he stops himself for a moment, and then swaps back to English. And he says,
Awfully considerate of him.
yeah, right, awfully considerate of him. He sits back and says, Billy? Billy who?
Billy O'Keefe.
There, even under the cowl of the cloak, there is a moment of hesitation before there is a smile that crosses his lips. And he says, O'Keefe? Why, I've saved him. He is one with the deep. Are you his compatriot, his friend that he spoke of? Are you Roy?
Yes, sir.
My boy, there is a grand opportunity for you. Don't you see? We are willing to look past this intrusion upon our service. Let us save you.
Hey,
As soon as he,
From what?
as soon as he says that, I pop up and go, I can be saved.
And he looks to you in a bit of shock and says, a volunteer? We don't get many of those nowadays. Don't you see? Is this your compatriot as well?
Yes.
Don't
He even says anything, yes.
change the subject, sir. Save us from what exactly?
Save you from the atrocities of the service.
I'm gonna cut you off because I want to come around the corner. What do you mean save? You just stabbed me! Well, not you, but him!
The speaker looks a bit taken aback, like almost kind of offended as you say, like you accusing him for the moment of being the perpetrator of your injury. But in that same motion, he composes himself again. He says, there's 3 of you, 3 new visitors, 3 new souls looking to be saved.
I'm gonna start walking.
Stabbed me!
I'm gonna start walking to the center of the stage.
Okay,
To the stage.
you're walking to the stage.
Just with my with my knife, just like kind of like in my hand, kind of, but not like aggressively,
Okay.
and just like walking, almost like I'm in a trance.
Okay. Give me... This is not gonna fly already with what's going on.
Or can I sheath my knife?
Yeah, I mean, look,
have it.
I will need, if you want to sheath it, I will need a sleight of hand from you to make it so it's not so visible.
Just drop it. Just
35. My sleight of hand is a 50.
So, you pass your sleight of hand, you manage to tuck the knife away to where it's not quite so visible. You would pretty much need to be actively looking for it to see it. The speaker continues on as you sort of walk to the stage. I hate to do this to you, bud, but given that you just suddenly kind of popped up and he definitely has not seen you in the crowd up until this moment, I am going to need from you, because this wouldn't be fast talk because you're not saying anything to him per se.
He did say he was going to volunteer.
That is true, yes. Let's take a little look-see here, a little looky-loo at the skills.
Let me get an intimidate.
No,
He's just so intimidated by me
give
walking
me,
up to him. This guy's insane.
Give me a charm roll. I will give you a bonus die because you did basically say you were volunteering.
Hey, you know a stat I should have put some.
Yeah.
59.
Reroll the percentile.
Or
Actually, I think you fill out or what?
39. Okay.
Oh, no, you don't, but I mean.
I need a hard success.
No, you just need a success.
I'm gonna use 14 luck to go in.
Goodness.
So
Okay.
I'll be at 15 luck points left.
Okay. So you pass your charm. He wholeheartedly believes that you are entranced by his words, and he makes no further motions to pay attention to you as you are kind of making your way up to the stage, like you are awaiting salvation from this individual. The rhetoric between you two continues on, though. I guess really you three, because it's the both of you now speaking at him.
Alright, listen. You didn't tell me, mister. Where is Billy?
Where? He is part of something much greater now. He is one with the deep. And he motions to the large window behind him that looks out into the deep, dark ocean behind him. And it is as he motions to this window that you see very, very faintly, it's almost hard to discern between the inky darkness of the deep sea. Something impossibly large moves in the water amongst the darkness.
It's my time.
Hope you're gonna go for it.
On the stage.
No, you are on the stage at this point. You are a mere few feet away from the speaker as he is kind of showing Roy where Roy's friend has ended up.
I'm just gonna walk up, and as soon as I get within grabbing distance of him, I just go, "Save me." Run! And I go to stab him.
Make me a fighting brawl roll. I will give you a bonus die for this as well because you did get the element of surprise on
So
him.
68
Fly, you fool.
is success.
You fool.
or an 8.
Oh, an 8. Okay, yeah.
An 8 total.
Is that an extreme success?
Yes.
Okay, what is the maximum damage your weapon deals?
My knife is a D8 plus a D4, so 12.
So 12. So you get the speaker as he kind of looks to you and he smiles. You're not able to see his eyes because of his hair and the cowl, but he smiles at you. He looks genuinely cheerful, happy that somebody is so willing to be saved by his cause to serve a higher, greater purpose. That smile immediately fades away as the blade of your hunting knife plunges into his throat. Instead, any noise that comes out of him is just a gargling sound as when you rip the blade free, for a brief moment, you see underneath his hair these this light brown eye that looks at you, and all he manages to choke out as the life spills out from him is,
You know why your eyes are brown? 'Cause you're full of crap, and I kick him in the chest.
yeah, and he falls over to the floor with a thud, still grasping at his throat, his neck, which is spurting blood out. Nor obviously normal red human blood as it spurts out. And after maybe a few seconds of him flailing about this, he stops moving altogether. It is in this moment that chaos erupts from the crowd. A mixture of panicked screams and angered, garbling growls from the fish people as the other, what you assume to be cult members now at this point, a mixture of them either run off and up the stairways to what looked to be side rooms on either end of the far ends of these walkways at the very top, situated on either end of this amphitheater-esque room. The rest of the crowd and the fish monstrosities that are here, they rush you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a mixture of hands and finned hands grabbing at you, with some of these finned hands puncturing claws into you.
Do I have any chance to dodge any of this?
I will need, if you want to try and dodge all of this, I will need a dodge check from you. I will need an extreme success from you to avoid being grabbed by this many people.
43. My extreme success would be a 14, I think.
So you would need to burn 29 points of luck to see.
I have 29 points of luck.
You did have 29 points of luck, but not
Now,
anymore.
question. I have 15. How would I be able to dodge half, at least the piercing ones, if I spend enough to do a hard success?
No.
Okay. Yep, I served my purpose then.
Yeah, and Roy, Seth, the both of you watch as some of the crowd disperses, clearly running away in fear. There's flailing hands and obviously panicked expressions on some of the people in the cloaks that have gathered here. You watch, and I already know how much damage is going to be, so I'm not going to bother rolling it. You watch as the fish creatures that were here, the ones who were gathered, them and a small collection of the other robed figures, they make their way onto the stage, and they bum rush Jebediah. And it is almost somewhat, at least just in a little bit of a sense, in the back of your minds, it is painfully sad to watch as Jebediah has this singular proud moment that he has just stomped out this evil that was here, after the reveal to you, Roy, that your friend Billy is more likely than not, he's dead.
He's drowned.
As Jebediah has this very brief moment of triumph over the speaker, and he is bum rushed by these fish people, you watch as they practically almost dogpile onto him, much the same as a school of piranhas. Yeah, right? Much the same as a school of piranhas that have surrounded prey that have fallen into the river. These fish creatures surround Jebediah, and all you hear are no screams save for the panicked cultists that are leaving. All you hear is the sounds of tearing cloth and tearing flesh as Jebediah is ripped apart in chunks by this group of fish people.
Any way I could take any of them out with me?
If you want to make me one last fighting brawl to try and kill one of them.
No.
I'm going to use all my points. 81 minus 15.
That is 66.
66.
What is your fighting brawl?
75.
75, roll me damage. I don't know if it will be enough to kill.
As he gets jumped, I'm gonna grab you by the shoulder and just kind of give you a jolt and bro, come on, we gotta go.
So we're gonna book it.
I think that's an 8, right? Is that an 8?
That's a 0.
Oh, this isn't.
So that'd be a 10. Oh, sorry, that'd be an 8. Sorry,
Okay,
yeah,
so
that'd be an
8.
8.
So
Sorry.
8 plus a D4.
Mm-hmm.
Beepo. 1, so 9 damage.
9 points of damage. So you guys watch as Jebediah sinks his hunting knife into the group of these fish creatures. And as he rips it free, there is a small sort of this lash, kind of almost this small spray of this blackened blood that follows the blade. As in this same motion he's done this, in this last defiant act against this crowd, you watch as, kind of almost reminiscent to the scene from Terminator, he holds the blade up in defiance as two groupings of these fin hands grab and sort of almost rip the arm apart in chunks. It is very safe to assume Jebediah is dead. For quite literally fish food.
Wrong.
Could a D20 make a saving throw?
D20 make a save.
He's at death's door.
He's a death door.
He's at death's door. So what are you two doing?
Booking it. Yeah,
Just
we're booking.
Okay.
absolutely just.
Yes, so the two of you are hoofing it out of here. You two make a swift exit, not affording even a single moment for these creatures to figure out where you have gone. Obviously, they can make heads or tails of where you've run off to, but considering the sheer number of these cultists that are also departing in a crowd, in a very panic-induced crowd, the two of you hoof it, eventually getting back to the tidal chamber and the antechamber.
Yeah, I was gonna make a quick note. Right on our way, as we're running through there, I want to rip a piece of the dress.
From the fish body?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still damp. It's like practically soaked with seawater, but you're able to do that pretty easily.
So yeah, so at least we have something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ripped that off as we're making our dash.
Yeah. And then the two of you are hoofing it through the tidal chamber, the antechamber.
So to make it very specific, I am in front, and as we're going through these things, I do have to be up there with my flashlight because there are no more lights.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get back to that tunnel way, they all will be pitch black, as Jebediah has snuffed all of the torches leading up to this antechamber. So the two of you depart. Going racing back up the cavern tunnel. Eventually, after what is a much shorter trek than initially coming down, you guys do eventually reach the entrance that empties out into the alcove that initially brought you into this tunnelway to begin with. From there, obviously exercising a bit of caution, you guys traverse the slick coastal rocks that are here on the shore of the Chesapeake Bay, eventually getting back to your squad car, Seth, and the two of you. By the way, I just have to ask, are you doing anything about your bleeding wounds this entire time?
I'm trying to hold it as best I can.
Okay,
I
need a first aid roll from you, or you are going to bleed out by the time you get out of this alcove. I totally forgot to ask.
45, and I have a 50 in first aid.
Okay, so you're good. You managed to dress up the wound. You will regain 1 hit point.
Okay.
And you do manage to clean up and dress the wound as best you can. At the very least, so you're not leaking blood all the way back up to the squad car.
Yeah, there's not much I can do, but I probably ripped off a part of my shirt.
You can use the part of the dress that Roy grabbed and use that to clean up the wound. The salt water might actually help a little bit.
I'm good.
Sure, that is evidence. That'd be tainting evidence. Sir.
I mean, you're already going to report him. Might as well let him, right?
It's more accurate now.
So, the two of you do eventually get back to Seth's squad car, and from there you guys depart south on the I-65 heading back down to Port Rouge. It's probably not the I-65. I'm going to better familiarize myself with the state road that runs down through Maryland.
Just to make it more role-play-y, I'm going to ask him to drive, because
that's fair.
I'm currently bleeding.
Do you have any points in drive, Otto?
The base.
The base? Okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so Seth asks you to drive back, Roy, given his predicament.
Sure.
And the two of you eventually, after another 10-minute drive, are back in Port Rouge. We come back to the undersea chamber, where the fish people have just finished tearing apart and consuming most of Jebediah's corpse. The only thing that remains is Jebediah's hand still clutching the hunting knife as it just sits atop the stage. The prophet who was speaking earlier is long dead, as he is also still lying on the stage itself, a puddle of blood pretty much surrounding his head and parts of his shoulders going down to just below the shoulder blades. It is there that the fish people and some of the other cultists that have gathered here, they stand in almost like a solemn circle of remembrance around the speaker and whatever fleshy bits of Jebediah yet remain. It is there that one of the fish people steps forward. They are dressed pretty much in almost the same kind of ripped up, very, very small vestiges and pieces of whatever clothing they wore when they were once human at some point, you would surmise. They step forward, and they are the only one in the group to speak, and says,
These are troubling times. We need to reach out further. We must contact the High Prophet. Bring them here.
and that is where the one-shot ends. Congratulations, you two, for surviving. Shout out to Jebediah for going out like a
really
champ.
Going in. That was good. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
and everything
scary.
everything that has panned out from here will be canon for the main campaign going forward. So, obviously, depending on you guys, we may see Roy and Seth again in the main campaign. Jason, obviously, you're going to need a new character.
Rutherford Jebediah. Yeah.
Rutherford Jebediah, okay.
Redajaya
Redajaya
Rutherford.
Yeah. Rutherjaya Jebberford.
His name gets worse every time you say it.
That's the curse of the Amish. The name gets more complicated.
Jebediah Jebberford.
Yeah, we'll definitely see, because I do like Seth, but
We'll see.
Yeah.
I didn't like this character.
Out of curiosity, like, how far in the future is the main campaign set?
So the main campaign, so right now it is March 18th, 1922. The main campaign takes place on August 7th, 1922. So this is almost
Only a couple
this
months
is
later.
almost 5 months later.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Well, hey, there's your little hook for the next thing we're gonna be doing.
Hook,
Yeah.
fish, get it?
Get it? Ha, ha, ha,
Fish,
ha,
get it?
ha, ha.
The fish
Stab them.
people. In any case,
You're dead.
thank you for joining us here for this group's first stint into the deep, dark mysteries of our Call of Cthulhu campaign, going in and going forward from here.
Yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we can't wait to see you in the next video, because I'm super excited for this. Like I've said this before on multiple videos, but like Nick, like I love it. Love to see it.
Yep, and we hope you'll join us for the rest of this crew's adventures as they explore something much deeper, darker, and far more sinister than what they've seen here.
Next time I'm using a throwing knife to kill the priest.
There is no next time.
There is a safer approach next time, but there is no next time in this case.
Yes, there is.
But in any case, thank you for joining us here today, guys. This has been Velvet Games' first dive into Call of Cthulhu.
It's true.
What you need to know is Jebediah has a spell. It allows him to go back.
Bye.
He can only go back in time one day, but he has to warn the general.